I want to carry on from where I left off last week, which was sharing a sales funnel optimization tactic and strategy with you guys. And I shared a slide that showed a complete plan for a sales funnel. And I got a lot of emails from you guys asking, hey, Caleb, can you do more of a training on that before we move ahead? So I want to give you guys a full overview. For some of you, it'll be a review of a fully built out, optimized sales funnel. All right. So the highest converting sales funnel on the internet is essentially a fully built out, thoroughly optimized sales funnel where every action that is taken or not taken throughout the entire funnel is optimized. So if someone takes an action or takes the wrong action or takes no action at all three points are optimized as far as we are concerned as sales funnel marketers, so that we are firing on all cylinders. The biggest mistake that sales funnel guys make is thinking that a piece of the funnel is either A, everything, or B, enough to get started. Usually what happens when people attempt to get a sales funnel working, the following scenario unfolds, but the failure rate for beginners is like extraordinarily high. And the failure rate even for professionals is extremely high. And that's, in my opinion, one of the big reasons why that's the case is because both categories, both beginners and the experts, don't start with a fully built out funnel. They start out with bits and pieces of the funnel. So essentially what happens is they immediately start testing something that's not ready for testing. The numbers inevitably come in poor, and the rush is on to try and make one single element of the funnel, which is, i.e., the advertising page, whatever that may be. It might be a webinar, it might be a video sales letter, it might be a long form sales letter, whatever major piece of advertising is associated with, you know, getting people to the order form. It's usually that one and only piece of advertising that they go to work on, and they expect that one little element to carry the whole conversion over the line and into a huge success. This line of thinking, this strategic approach to launching sales funnels is inherently flawed. That is not like in any way an intelligent thing to do. And yet it is what, you know, way more than 90% of people do in terms of attempting to make a sales funnel profitable. And as a result, the failure rates reflect, you know, the strategy. The failure rates are just massive. Okay. A much wiser approach is to get started slower by putting all of the pieces in place before you even go live. In that way, you spread the load of conversion across many, many different conversion points, which allows for way more profit to be generated from multiple different, you know, places throughout the funnel. And as a result, you will optimize way quicker, your results will be way better, and your chances of success will skyrocket. So that's what this is. This is a plan. This is the plan for what a fully optimized sales funnel looks like. So we're going to take it from the beginning. Okay, so there is an essential basic structure to all sales funnels. Okay, and every sales funnel essentially should have this, because this is kind of the the concrete foundation that everything, you know, is based upon. So if we have a killer foundation, then we're going to, you know, be starting off with a killer sales funnel. So every sales funnel is, you know, a variation of this, or every sales funnel should be a variation of this. So you have a landing page where essentially and generally you capture a lead. It may not always be the case that you capture a lead first, but you know, generally speaking, webinar funnels, a lot of VSL funnels may not, but webinar funnels capture leads. You know, there's a lot of book funnels that capture leads. So generally speaking, there's a landing page that captures leads. After that, there's your sales page. That can be anything: your webinar, your video sales letter, your long form sales letter. It's the advertising for your book funnel, your tripwire funnel, whatever. Okay. Your order form, that's explanatory. From there are 3 upsells. Okay. So there are guys that do more, and more commonly, there are guys that do less, but 3 is optimal. I said in a previous training that 2 is minimal. You really need 3. 3 is a tested winning number. It gets the most quantity of people through the funnel without abandoning, while monetizing those people to the best that's possible. 3 is a tested number of upsell offers to have, and it's best that you have 3. Anything more than that, you start to piss people off and they start abandoning your funnel like crazy. And then you have a thank you page. Okay. So email capture, advertising, order form, upsell 1, 2, 3, and a thank you page. That's essentially the foundation. You've got to have that in place because everything gets built off of that. All right. So the next wise thing to build into your funnel, once you have your basic funnel in place, is a simple offer bump. Okay, a bump offer on your order form. We're going to talk about that in you know, the next training. But an order form bump is essentially a little offer that you put on your order form at the point of ordering. It's a one-click upsell on the actual order form, and those things convert like crazy. And they're rarely, if ever, and more than likely never, if done, you know, the way that I will teach you to do them, they never lower sales for the first product. They don't lower sales. It's just a bump. You get a nice big bump in your average order value. In fact, your bump offer can be the highest converting of all of your upsell offers. So by adding a little bump, you essentially add, you know, a 4th upsell without it feeling like it's an upsell at all. It's a snap purchase. Okay. After that, you're going to want to put exit pop-ups, okay, into your upsells, because no matter how good a job you do with your upsells, 50% of people who land on your upsells will not consume all 3 and land on your thank you page. That means if 100 people order, only 50 order here, only 50 of them get here. The others abandon along the way. Okay. So simple exit pop-up offers are going to monetize people leaving that page. That's one action that's going to go down here. Okay. So someone's going to land here and say, boom, I'm leaving. And then they're going to leave. That's one action. We're going to talk about other actions here in a minute. Getting 3 exit pop-ups in place here. The big kind of complaint that people have is, hey, Caleb, won't it mess up? What if I'm getting traffic from Facebook? Facebook won't allow me to use pop-ups. Any traffic platform that has a problem with pop-ups will not allow you use them here on these 3 pages. You know, but the minute they order from you and they go into your system, they're now off the traffic platform and they're in your system. So the traffic platforms do not have a problem with pop-ups on your upsells after the customer has ordered on your order form. Okay. After we put exit pop-ups in place, we then put downsells. Now, your downsells can essentially be the same exit pop-ups. Okay. So whether someone tries to leave, they get hit with a special offer to buy. But if they decline the offer, this is the second action that takes place. So if they land here and try to leave, they get an exit pop-up. If they land here, listen to the upsell advertising and say, no, I don't want that product that's being offered in upsell number one, boom, and they click the decline link, they get the same exit pop-up. It's a reason to convince them to go back in order. And there are a variety of different reasons you can give people that we will cover in another training there. But essentially, that's two actions. Either the person leaves and then they get hit with an offer, or else they decline the offer and they get hit with an offer. Okay. Back here, let's say that someone attempts to come to your sales page after giving you their email address and they do not consume the advertising. They don't watch the webinar, they don't watch the video sales letter, you know, they haven't kind of consumed the advertising in whatever way, they just left without visiting the order form. Boom, they come down into, it can be 3 or 7 days. I've done both, and you know, both work. I don't have I don't have convincing split test data to say which one is better, but those are the two really good ways of doing it. Either a 7-day deadline campaign that just gives them lots and lots of reasons to order, to go back and consume the advertising, and it's all got to go to a deadline, like time is running out for you to check it out. When there's a hard deadline on anything, it gets people to take action. So if you are selling them over 3 or 7 days, giving them all different reasons why they should go back and watch the advertising, that's very convincing. But when you actually connect it to a deadline, like, hey, this thing is coming down in 3 days, or it's disappearing in 3 days, or the offer is over, or whatever, you have to go before the deadline to watch it, you multiply the quantity of people. You just drive response through the roof. So deadline email campaigns to those guys convert like crazy. Okay, you're talking getting X sales and X plus a whole bunch more. If you didn't have this, you would get X, and by putting this in, you're going to have X plus a whole bunch more sales. It's a killer optimization. And the same goes for the order form. In this case, though, I definitely use a 3-day deadline email campaign. So if they go to the order form, they are aware that there's some kind of discount in place for the offer, or that there's some sort of special offer that's available only for a small amount of time. So essentially what I do on the order form is, if you visit the order form and you don't buy and you leave, boom, you come in here. You come into a 3-day deadline email campaign that essentially tells you all the reasons why you should buy, lets you know that in 72 hours at the deadline that the offer disappears. Either the price goes up 10 times more expensive than what it is right now, or the offer is off the table and will never be repeated again. These deadline email campaigns generate anywhere from 20 to 50% more sales. That means if you're getting 100 sales a day, you'll get 120 to 150 sales in a day by adding this baby in here. It is a killer thing to add in. And we move on. We put a deadline email campaign, a 3-day deadline email campaign in place for all of these upsells. So if someone leaves, they get an exit pop. If someone orders, they move on. And if someone declines, they come down here. Now at this stage, they've got two options down here. They either buy or they leave. If they don't buy and they leave, they go into a 3-day deadline email campaign. Again, 20 to 50% more sales per upsell. Okay. And you have each of those in place. It's essentially the same email campaign, just for each one of the places that you put it. So upsell 1, that email campaign will talk all about upsell 1. The very same email campaign will be used for upsell 2, except it will just talk about upsell 2, and the same for upsell 3, and the same for the order form. It's always associated with a unique offer that's disappearing, or the price is going up. And that fear of missing out, that fear of losing out on a great deal, is what drives sales through the roof. already right now, this is really a well dialed in sales funnel. You have this stuff in place, you are essentially firing on all cylinders. You have all outcomes that can be optimized. You obviously cannot, you can put retargeting in here and retarget everybody. And that's for sure you can do for optimizing these for people that exit. You know, you can have retargeting going to those people as well. But in terms of exit pop-ups, you can't monetize exit traffic in that way on these 3 pages for the purposes of, you know, the platforms just hating that kind of stuff. But everything else about this funnel is optimized. So with the exception of the thank you page, which I'm going to talk about right now, because the biggest thing that everybody needs to understand about sales funnels these days is that when the sales funnel was first invented, everybody was getting all over it and they were crushing it. Okay. Just like webinars, when webinars first got started, everybody got in, everyone was doing them, and everyone was making hay. Well, 10 years later, there's very few people doing webinars. Why? Because webinars are extremely difficult to make work. They're very, very difficult to make work. Why? Because the skepticism, the levels of skepticism in the marketplace have increased. The cat is out of the bag. Everybody knows what a webinar is. And they've been so overused that people have become really resistant to webinars. So as a result, the failure rates on webinars now are really, really high, and it's very difficult to make those things work. Well, guess what? It's the same with sales funnels. Sales funnels, everybody knows what a sales funnel is now. Everybody knows when they buy this thing, they're going to go into some variation of this. And as a result, resistance to these things is high. They still convert, they're great. Everybody, you know, I'm a fan of using these things. This is why I'm teaching them. But you have to understand that long gone are the days when all of this was enough for you to get rich. Okay. These days, you need more than this. So this is what you need to add to your sales funnels. You need to add a high ticket offer on the back end that is pitched literally on the thank you page, as well as in an email campaign that goes out to all new buyers in the first week. The whole idea is to get people into a high ticket offer. And it's not to be viewed as 2 different offers. You've got your, you know, you've got your front end funnel and you've got your back end, you know, offer. That's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it, the modern way to look at things, is that both of these things are now the one funnel. You need essentially both of these things to succeed. Because the name of the game with sales funnels is that you want to be able to pay more for a customer than your competitors. If you can only pay $50 per customer on cold traffic, there might only be 100 sales a week available to you. If you wanted to pay $80 per sale, there might be, you know, 150 sales available to you. But if you can pay $200 or $300 per sale, as a theoretical example, then firstly, no one in your market will be able to pay that. Why? Because they won't have all of this in place. They won't even have a third of this in place. But secondly, if you can pay $300 per sale in this theoretical example, you won't have any competition. You will be cleaning up. Your business will explode. You will be taking in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more customers than all of your competitors. And you'll be doing it at a profit. Because if you get a high ticket thing working here and you're able to view all of this as one funnel, then your average order value for the customer that comes through both these in one shot will be significantly greater than all the other average order values your competitors will have in your marketplace. This is a niche domination plan. This is what essentially puts you out there as the number one top dog in your niche. It's done strategically. So when I say a well dialed in sales funnel or the ultimate sales funnel, this is what I mean. I mean a sales funnel that is built out in exactly this manner, strategically designed to succeed. Because as I said earlier, what everybody just does this little piece here. Look, they do the landing page, the sales page, and the order form. And maybe some of them will have a bump offer, but most commonly it's just these three things. And then what they do is they put all of their time and attention into optimizing this, expecting just this one page to do the work of all of this combined. And inevitably they run out of money, and inevitably they fail, because you cannot, expect one single element to do everything that's needed to A, be profitable, and B, take over your niche. It's remarkably naive and the wrong approach and just incorrect thinking on everyone's behalf. And it's, don't let yourself think that, if you're a beginner and you made this mistake, the experts are making this mistake. Everyone is making this mistake. You have to start with a fully built out funnel. And the key to success is this high ticket offer. If you get that right, you can take over any niche. Everybody still needs to do their market research. Like if you're targeting CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, you're not going to create some $7 report for them, but you would still do this. The $7 report type of thing is a fit for one scenario. It's not a fit for the other. So the whole idea here is that you have to start with the core fundamentals of everything that you're doing. The core fundamentals are always going to be, you need to study your competitors. You need to start with the guys that are crushing it, because they're the guys that have figured it all out. Who else is worth learning from than the guys that have it all figured out? If you attempt to get into a niche and you just don't find your top three competitors, well, then you don't belong in the game, because you're not playing the game right. How the hell are you going to go from zero, not having been in the niche for, the last 10 years, not having, relentlessly failed and invested tons of your money in split testing and, trial and error and figuring it all out? How are you going to get all of that experience? You're not. So the failure rate is huge if you don't find your top three competitors. You have to find them and find out who they are and reverse engineer everything they're doing, because they've figured it out. That's the blueprint for you to follow. That's the path. That's the treasure map. Once you find them, you're golden. You've got the treasure map. Now you need to figure out, who the prospect is. And you need to find out what that person's dilemma is, what their urgent problems are. You've got to come up with a unique solution. You got to find out where you're going to advertise. And then when you've got all that figured out, then you sit down to a funnel like this, because then you have all of the answers. You know what you should be doing, what should be on your landing page. You know what should be in your sales page. You know what needs to be done in that regard, because you've done your homework. You've seen what the top guys are doing. But it'll always be a variation of exactly this. And if the top guys are not doing this, you'll find that they're doing bits and bobs of this, little pieces of this, which essentially you're going to come along with a far superior strategy. This is how you take over. You start, the ultimate rule for taking over and dominating a niche is this: do what the best are doing, just do it better. If you do better than the person who's doing the best, guess what you are? You are now the new best. And even if you fail, you're going to fail by landing in like the top 3 to 5 to 10 competitors in the entire niche. You bring smarter strategies to the table, and guess what? You will find 9 out of 10 guys you're going to compete against won't have a similar strategy. They'll have a piece of this.